Now to our top story this morning at 7:05. The Duke of Sussex has touched down on British soil, but will not stay at Buckingham Palace during his visit to the UK this week. That's despite his team saying about 24 hours ago that he'd accepted an offer to do so.
Well, palace officials say Prince Harry initially declined the invitation and later changed his mind after the deadline had passed, leaving him too little notice to make arrangements.
Well, this all comes as the Duke of Sussex is set to find out whether he's won his High Court case against the Daily Mail's publisher.
We're now joined by Fraser Myers, Deputy Editor at Spiked Online. Fraser, the story's captured the front pages of...
Well, there you go. This is GB News Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
Lots of the media today. I guess for British people, we're all sitting here going, you lot are meant to be the royal family, you should be above all of these squabbles, but they're very much human like the rest of us.
I know, but the squabbles are relentless, and I think they speak to, in particular, the petulance of Prince Harry. I mean, it's hard to know who's in the right here. There's been a will they, won't they row over whether they can stay at Buckingham Palace, going on for a very long time, but it does seem as if it was Harry who, at the last minute, made things impossible for that to happen. You know, Harry's in the UK to appear in court to find out whether he had his phones hacked, or to find out whether the Daily Mail had used illegal means to access information about him. So he'll be that will be an interesting case. I think what's interesting is he is trying to basically, you know, those are illegal activities and those should be condemned if they happened. But he's trying to create this narrative where anything said about Meghan is part of an illegal aspect of press intrusion. So he's folding in these two things of potentially illegal intrusion and people actually just having a pop at Harry because, you know, he's someone worth having a pop at because he is petulant, he does behave in these strange ways, or people having a pop at his wife, who many people find, frankly, quite annoying and tiresome, which, you know, if we are to be a free country, we should have every right to have a pop at those things.
What do you make of reports in The Sun today? Do you believe them when it says that the King has been tested beyond endurance over Prince Harry? And we've got the front page of The Telegraph saying that the King has lost his patience with his dithering son.
I mean, you could kind of understand why, because, of course, you know, we were hoping that this, or certainly he would have been hoping that this would have been a moment of reconciliation, to put, you know, sort of bury the hatchet over these rows that have been taking place in the media. And clearly that hasn't happened. Clearly this trip has not been the opportunity to let bygones be bygones, and we've ended up with another spat that is all over the front pages of the papers. And again, it makes the royal family look like a soap opera, which is obviously not what Charles would have wanted.
No, indeed. But at the same time, this is the couple, particularly Harry, who wanted privacy. And they've demanded seemingly anything but privacy ever since they left the United Kingdom. They've done Netflix, Oprah Winfrey. I mean, I could go on and on. Meghan's been on countless podcasts praising herself. And unfortunately, in my opinion, Fraser, she comes off a bit insufferable to British people.
I think that's right. And I think we have to... The claim that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle want privacy is absolutely risible. I mean, just look at the autobiography that Charles released. I mean, the level of intimate detail about himself was extraordinary, but then, you know, the dirt that he was spreading about his own family and close...
Harry, not Charles.
I mean, Harry, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Harry's biography, Spare. I mean, that 300-page, you know, it's full of just the most obscene, intimate details that we did not need to know. No. Even about Harry himself. You know, he's allowed to divulge his own information, but we didn't need to know some of those things, and I won't repeat them, them here. So to say that he wants privacy, no, what he wants is deference. He wants a media that doffs the cap to Harry and Meghan, that reports on all the do-gooding things that they do, says how all the wonderful things they're doing for charity, and then never criticises them for anything. That's what they want, and that's what, that's what a lot of these rows are about. Meghan, in particular, you know, she often claims to have been a victim of racism at the hands of the press. I've seen absolutely no evidence for this. It's taking things out of context. I mean, one example was the use of the word niggling is often brought up. It's a perfectly reasonable word to use. It's not a racist term. So, again, you know, you have to take these claims from Harry and Meghan with a heavy, heavy dose of salt.
Indeed.
OK, Fraser Myers, thank you very much.
And of course, as you all know, Britain is bracing for a third heat wave of the summer, and schools are apparently calling off sports days because of what they would call extreme temperatures, Ellie.
Yes, southeastern England has now officially met the heat wave criteria, with temperatures already reaching 28 degrees.
Yes, a week-long warning over higher temperatures in place for parts of the UK is as the soaring heat poses a greater risk to life for vulnerable people.
Well, let's speak now to our friend and travel correspondent at The Telegraph, Simon Caldo, joins us now. Good to see you as always, Simon. Let's talk about the inevitable, which is the travel chaos that comes anytime we see a heatwave in this country.
Yes, and look, if you are travelling in, I'm currently speaking to you from lovely Newark in Nottinghamshire, things not too bad here, but as we've been hearing in the forecast, most definitely warming up. And this is really just part of a whole heatwave scenario, which yesterday saw more than 24 cancellations on the line between London St Pancras International and Sheffield via Derby and Nottingham. Sorry to say that this morning that line is also disrupted between Chesterfield and Sheffield because of the emergency services attending an incident there. You can expect more cancellations on that line. They say it is due to the heat wave. Also, on the Great Western Line, this is the one that connects London Paddington with the west of England and South Wales. There's a number of problems that are affecting the line, but in particular, the train operator GWR is saying we are not going to be switching the points. Those are the things which, of course, move trains from one track to another on the main line between London and Reading, because in hot weather they are more likely to break. As a result of that, if you're travelling from Newbury or lovely Didcot Parkway, your journey is likely to be slower than usual. You could well have to change trains at Reading.
The quiet collapse of Westminster's core authority, and what comes next. Welcome back to Britain Underneath, where we peel back the polished veneer of British politics to uncover the quiet realities shaping our nation. Before we dive into today's analysis, if you value serious, uncompromising perspective on the true state of the United Kingdom, please take a brief moment to subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and join our growing community of informed viewers. There is a distinct, almost polite absurdity to the way power is currently exercised across the United Kingdom. On the surface, the grand machinery of Westminster continues its accustomed rhythms. The maces are carried, the dispatch boxes are patted. Yet beneath this meticulous theatrical routine, a far more sobering reality has settled in. The central state is no longer merely struggling to manage immediate crises. It is quietly coming to terms with the limits of its own capacity. For generations, the British constitutional model relied on an unwritten understanding that whatever the political squabbles of the day, the administrative core of the nation was essentially solid. The civil service advised, the treasury calibrated, and local councils delivered. Today, that tacit agreement looks remarkably fragile. We are witnessing a slow-motion decentralisation of competence, where local authorities are left to shoulder overwhelming financial burdens, while national policy remains caught in a loop of short-term fixes and endless parliamentary posturing. Consider the ongoing strain on public infrastructure. The discussion in mainstream media often reduces these issues to simple fiscal debates or partisan finger-pointing. However, the deeper issue is structural. Decisions regarding long-term energy security, transport integration, and regional economic strategy have been repeatedly deferred or diluted to satisfy immediate political cycles. The result is a nation running on institutional momentum rather than strategic vision. When a system relies entirely on momentum, any unforeseen shock exposes the lack of genuine direction underneath. If you are finding this breakdown insightful, please consider subscribing to Britain Underneath right now. Your support is crucial in helping this channel grow and allowing us to bring you the deep, unvarnished commentary that mainstream outlets often overlook. This institutional fatigue is equally visible in how the state interacts with its citizenry. There was a time when British governance was defined by a certain understated efficiency. Services worked not because they were flamboyant, but because they were dependable. Today, the public is routinely asked to expect less while contributing more. Whether navigating the complexities of regional healthcare access, housing shortages, or local council insolvencies, the average citizen is increasingly left to navigate a maze of bureaucratic inertia. The traditional compact between public contribution and public service has drifted off course. Furthermore, the nature of political discourse itself has shifted. Parliament, once seen as the premier forum for rigorous debate, frequently resembles a platform for rehearsed talking points designed for social media clips rather than substantive policy formulation. Serious legislative scrutinies are increasingly bypassed or rushed, while complex economic realities are reduced to simplistic slogans. This creates a profound disconnect between the lived experience of people across the country and the sanitized version of reality discussed in the corridors of power. It is precisely this disconnect that makes examining these hidden layers so vital. Understanding British politics today requires looking beyond the daily headlines and examining the structural pressures quietly reshaping our institutions. We must ask uncomfortable questions about where power truly lies, how public resources are actually prioritized, and whether our current governance model is fit for the challenges ahead. As we navigate these uncertain times, taking a moment to step back, take a breath, and stay informed is essential for anyone who wishes to truly understand the future of this country. I strongly urge you to stay with us until the very end of this video, as connecting these broad political trends to their eventual real-world consequences is where the true picture emerges. The long-term implications of this administrative drift are profound. When central governance loses its capacity to deliver fundamental stability, confidence in democratic institutions naturally begins to erode. Regions begin to look inward, public trust fractures, and the appetite for hasty, unpredictable political alternatives grows. The current landscape is not merely a passing phase of political awkwardness. It represents a pivotal juncture for the modern British state. Navigating these shifts requires rigorous, ongoing scrutiny. We need to look past the political theatre and focus on the structural mechanics that determine the nation's trajectory. That is precisely what we aim to do here every week. If you appreciate this level of mature, independent analysis, I sincerely ask and encourage you to subscribe to Britain Underneath today. Creating content that digs deeper into the realities of UK politics requires a dedicated audience, and subscribing is the single best way to help ensure this channel remains active, independent, and capable of delivering the insight you rely on. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, and I look forward to welcoming you back for our next video.